Hi, this is Mick Elliott from Electronic Specifier. I am on the Farnell stand with Rospedzihowski, who is the President of EMEA Sales for Farnell. Rob, first of all, we're kind of heading towards the end of Q1 2023. How has Farnell seen the year so far, and how does it see things going forward?
Yeah, so Mick, first of all, great to have you here, and obviously with the Raspberry Pi background, which we now have sole distribution rights for, so that's quite a momentous here. We launched it back in 2012, so and about 12 hours ago I gave Mike Buffum the picture of the original Pi being demonstrated. I think you were here, so very momentous. But first quarter so far, it's been incredibly positive. We are seeing growth in all markets, and long may it continue. The market is still very buoyant, a lot of demand from new design applications, and we're very pleased with how things are going.
Is there, looking at EMEA specifically, are any particular regions doing well, or?
Yeah, so we were obviously worried about the conflict in the Ukraine and how that may have an impact on electronics demand and general economic conditions with the macroeconomy worsening. But I have to say, probably just with the slight slowdown in the DACH region, but Eastern Europe has recovered. If you net out the sales we've lost in Russia, UK is doing surprisingly well, considering the political turmoil and everything else. Southern Europe continues to grow with more and more customers coming to the Farnell proposition. So generally, it's very bright. I'm not concerned about any of the areas that we're currently operating in.
And I know you obviously cover a wide spread of applications. Are you seeing growth across the board, or is there anything specific pushing business forward?
So we obviously don't, unlike our parent company, we're not strong in automotive, which is starting to recover. We're not really that big in military, but what we are seeing is applications linked to the military market. We are seeing growth in cameras, detection, sensors. The industrial business is pretty good. Transportation, but very much I would say it's all about green and the environment, and we're seeing increased demand in that area in terms of how to make the environment better, more ecologically friendly, and a growth in green. So which is very pleasing in terms of where electronic parts can be used.
We're here at Embedded World. Is there anything that Farnell is focused on bringing to customers?
Well, obviously Embedded is all about primarily the semiconductor lines and new applications that most of our suppliers, we're featuring quite a few of those at the stand here. So from a semiconductor point of view, that sector is actually growing at the fastest rate. Some of it is now with more products becoming available or the lead times coming in. But in every application, as I'm sure you've been hearing around the exhibition, Mick, there is more and more semiconductor type parts being used in these applications. More microcontrollers, microchips, memory, flash, FPGAs, etc. So that is, I would say, at the forefront, but Farnell also is investing, not so relevant to this exhibition, but we are investing more now in our industrial proposition. We want to increase the range for supporting many of our customers with indirect material supply, and you'll see more and more of that being featured at other exhibitions and other promotions that we're planning to run throughout the calendar year from a marketing point of view.
I mean, you've now actually appointed somebody, I think, to head up the industrial business. Yeah. If you can just talk us through that process, and again, come back, where in maybe specific exhibitions or markets you see Farnell penetrating.
Yeah, so Eleanor Young is our industrial sector director. Come from my sales organisation, so well trained. but she's come from a background of industrial distribution, indirect material supply. Very experienced, very, very good knowledge with a range of our existing suppliers, but also talking to new suppliers that want to come in and sell their features and benefits through the Farnell and Element 14 proposition. So we are looking at building on where we have already an existing range with our current suppliers, but also bringing in new areas to support actually the customers that we already service from an electronics point of view, but also for their indirect material supply. So in areas like soldering, gloves, PPE, everything indirect from a material purchase point of view that our customers already buy from a wide range of sources, but building on the Farnell proposition and almost getting to a one-stop shop solution.
And I guess maybe this moves you also into, if you like, more pure electrical goods as well as electronics?
Yeah, very much so. So we obviously have the CPC business out in Preston that has serviced the electrical wholesale market for many, many years. So we've worked very, very closely with the CPC team to bring in some of the range that they already supply to the UK market, but how can we take that portfolio of products into the EMEA and wider Farnell businesses, and we will be bringing in over 200,000 new SKUs, part numbers, into our UK1 warehouse that you visited as complementary to what the customers are looking for broadening that range and demand.
You mentioned Leeds, the distribution centre's up and running now. Can you give us a progress update?
Yeah, so a bit of a bumpy start, as you know, but I think you always get that with a new warehouse, new technology, new systems. But I'm pleased to say that together with the support of our carriers, we are now reaching levels that we could not reach in terms of parcels per day, service per day, to our not just our European customer base, but also wider afield. That distribution services our Asia customers and our America customer base with onboard components. We're leaving the indirect materials to the local distribution centres like Liège and Gaffney and Singapore. But very much that is now fully operational. As I said, record number of parcels per day, and we're building now extra capability in that warehouse to stock the industrial range, but also extending our onboard components with recently signing the ADI line, Toshiba, and many others still to follow.
Others still to follow?
Others still to follow. Yeah, no, I'm not going to. We obviously have to sign on the dotted line, but there are a number of suppliers that are still interested in bringing their technology to the Farnell proposition. More niche suppliers than well-known names in the industry, but many that we'll be meeting over the next 2 and a bit days here at Embedded.
And I guess some of those companies do feel, as you say, their niche product fill a gap in the product lineup.
Yeah, I mean the Farnell proposition is well known. We've got over 3,000 suppliers that we're taking to over 2 million customers. The customers are looking for a more complete onboard solution in terms of with difficult times as they've experienced. Everybody's experienced that over the last 24 months. So the ability to supply a wider range of parts with good stock holding and capability to deliver next day is now, from a supply chain solution point of view, paramount to many customers. And they're looking for more cost-effective economy of scale solutions. I think we can provide that, and enhancing the proposition and the range is of benefit to those customers. That's what they're seeking, and that's what we're looking to provide.
If we could just turn to Raspberry Pi for a moment. As you mentioned earlier, you're now the sole distributor for Raspberry Pi. So I guess now we can see you working with them both on bringing, I'm sure they're working on new board products, but also obviously they recently launched a microcontroller product as well. So how do you see that going forward now you are the sole distributor?
Well, we've had a very good, as a reference, we launched the Pi here in 2012. We've had a proven relationship with them over that period. We've sold more boards for them to not just their distribution network, but also to their industrial commercial users that use the Pi as an application to work through their POS requirements. The Pi Foundation are looking for us to further enhance that distribution support, not just in EMEA, but other countries around the world where they want to take their products to the education market. So we're fulfilling that. But we're also using their microcontroller to support many industrial consumers that are looking for cost-effective solutions for using not just the Raspberry Pi for the POS, as I've mentioned, but also for various applications to support their design needs. So it's a very good commercial arrangement. We obviously work with Sony, who are the manufacturers in Wales, so they're a long-standing customer of ours. We support Sony with a number of their customers that have the design to production small build requirements. So it's a win-win combination, and it works very, very well. And I'm glad it's all in the UK.
Okay, Rob, that's great. Thank you very much. Now, before we finish, Rob, I think you have some personal news to share with the industry, and I should emphasise that Rob, is, I think, fair to say, a veteran of the distribution industry and pretty much known in all its nooks and crannies around the globe. So, Rob, what's your news?
Okay, Mick. So it was announced yesterday, but I will be retiring at the end of June. It's been a great journey. 40 years plus in the electronics distribution industry, starting at STC, working through Future, working at Arrow, and bar a brief holiday period at Thomas Cook, ending up my career at Farnell. It's been a great company. Had some tremendous opportunities. Worked with some phenomenal leaders. In amongst sort of Harriet Green, Steve Kaufman, now my final tenure with Chris Breslin and Phil Gallagher. And I never, honestly, Mick, expected to have the opportunities working in America, setting up the business in Element 14 in China, creating from scratch our business in Eastern Europe, and using my Polish language that I never thought I would use, but there we go. And it will be a sad day at the end of June, but I'm going to step into the charity, working for non-profit organisations. I'm heavily involved in the scouting organisation, and that's an opportunity for me to work with the leaders of tomorrow and spend some time with my family and maybe reducing my golf handicap. So that's my breaking news. And it's been a pleasure also knowing you for over 40 years and being interviewed many times, Mick. So thank you for the opportunity.
Well, I'll just reciprocate that pleasure of working with Rob, because he's been a great contact for me in the distribution business for many years, my many years as a journalist, and it's been a real pleasure always to talk to him. So I know I certainly speak on behalf of myself and my colleagues at Electronic Specifier, and I'm sure for a lot of other people, to wish you all the very best in the future.
Thank you very much, Mick. It's been a pleasure to work with you.
Pleasure.